Hey, welcome to What Do You Think of This? We are revisiting the best things from our past to let you know whether they're the best things for your future.
Yes, sir.
I'm Jeff Abiad. With me is Josue Escobar.
What's up, everybody?
Ho, ho, Josue Escobar.
It's podcast day, and it's also Christmas time.
It's Christmas time. It's looking a little festive in here. If you're watching online, you'll see that. If you're not, you'll just have to imagine that we're looking. This is probably not going to work for the episode. I'm covering my mouth with a beard.
It's, I can still hear you fine.
Can you? I feel very muffled.
A little bit.
If I talk like this.
Maybe.
Perfectly
It's
fine.
like a built-in windscreen.
Yeah. Okay, that's not going to work. Just enough to...
It's a great image, though.
Yeah, this will be our thumbnail. Hey, yeah, it's Christmas time.
Yeah. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving.
How much pie do you imagine you ate?
I don't know, because this is recorded ahead of time. Hopefully, I can have some self-restraint,
Yeah.
and not just gorge myself on sweets.
We're going to know in next week's video if it looks like you're wearing some tight-fitting clothes.
That's so funny.
I pulled out the little Santa Claus. Okay, so you will know, this comes from a mutual friend of ours.
Uh-huh.
We have a Christmas party every year with now, I feel like, a very infamous white elephant gift exchange.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Do you do a lot of white elephant parties?
Well, not a lot, but we normally have one for our staff Christmas party, and I want to say our creative team Christmas party, but
I think, and now like we've talked about this, I get kind of into the weeds maybe a little bit too much sometimes, but I found that you have to be very clear about the rules,
yeah.
especially up front, because people will get angry.
Oh, yeah.
And then,
Remember that one time Aaron called you a Nazi?
let's beep that out. He knows who he is.
Yeah.
We're good now.
It was funny because you said like, all right, everybody take the gifts you have and give it to the person on your right. You're like, what?
I explained it ahead of time, and we had a timer, and there were rules. And then when the timer went off, whatever gift that you had that you had stolen, you passed to the side. And oh my gosh, people were so mad. We haven't done that ever again.
No, yeah, you'd have a revolt on your hands.
But also, I feel like over the years too, you have to clarify because you don't want the gift to be too cheap. Otherwise, nobody wants to steal it.
Yeah.
And then I always feel bad for those people, especially if they brought something great or fun, and then they pick up like, some lame thing that nobody wants. And then as the person in charge of the party, I feel like I have to pump their gift up a little bit like, ooh, seasonal tea, or whatever.
Oh, another mug.
Yeah. Oh, is that peppermint hot chocolate in there?
Or caramel hot chocolate. It's like a different, oh my God. Yeah, you're right.
But it's also hard because you never know what gift is going to be the one that really people grab onto.
You can always tell the person or the gift that person didn't follow the rules of like the $20 limit.
The Michael Scott, like I brought an iPod, you mean?
Yeah.
Like way more expensive.
Wait a minute. This was probably like $40. Come on, guys.
Well, we were talking about this with the audio interface in the house because every once in a while I have just some equipment that I don't use anymore or something old or but it's still in perfectly good shape or something in the house. And you're like, I'll just wrap it up. I didn't spend any money on this, but technically it's worth more than $15.
Yeah.
So this Santa Claus here, actually, I don't know if we want to have her up the whole time. If you're watching online, you'll see, and I could put a photo on our Instagram channel, wdyt.show. Okay, Santa and Mrs. Claus are the result of a white elephant gift exchange. So a friend of ours brought this because they were in her family for years. And so she decided to bequeath them to the white elephant.
That's so funny.
And Abby.
Oh, okay.
And because, our family has multiple people now, my whole family usually comes, we have multiple hands in this gift exchange. So we usually work out like something, but some of this ended up in our house. And, that's cute, but also scary. And so what we started doing is gifting it around our family with a little note every year. So some member of my family will get Santa and Mrs. Claus as their Christmas gift.
Yeah.
And so it'll come in the mail and you try and wrap it up like you can't really tell what it is. So we were gifted it back last year, and now it's my job to disguise them somehow and then send them to somebody else.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
We should totally start that.
So they were the first thing that got unboxed. I don't know if do we want to leave them out here the whole time?
Yeah, we should.
Okay. They're kind of stealing the show. Get a little closer. Hi there. Oh, no. Okay, let me not mess with it. So yeah, anyway, so what for Christmas season for you guys, now that we're past Thanksgiving, what are the first things that you do? Like we unboxed, this was the first thing we opened up, but not intentionally.
Well, other than the Christmas tree, we always do like the advent calendar thing. And there's like always, I think chocolates in there. Or
just one calendar?
Well, is there multiple calendars?
This is what I'm saying. In our house, this has gotten out of hand because of just marketing nowadays. Because when I was a kid, if we had an advent calendar, it was one with chocolate.
Yeah.
Now it's like each kid has their own.
Oh gosh.
That's like themed. It's like Lego, Marvel,
I could
whatever,
see that happening.
Which is fun because for each of them, it's like some silly little gift, but it's too much.
It's like a family one, and then there's like everybody else's one. I mean, that'd be okay. But yeah, we normally just do that, and then we have the nativity scene. It's like the nativity scene with the little toy. I got to look it up now.
Oh yeah. They're like plastic play school, whatever they are. They look like children.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. Yeah, we have the same one.
Yeah, and we do and then we do the Christmas tree and the stockings. It's tradition to just put those up.
Stockings,
yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys have a mantle that you put them on?
No, we put them on the banister.
We do that too on the stairwell?
Yeah.
Yeah. And like we went that one year and
now
cut down.
Now you have a mantle.
Well, we do, but it doesn't. We have a gas fireplace that we don't use, but there's no actual mantle.
Oh,
I'd have to nail them to the wall.
Yep. Now you got to build a mantle.
Lord. It's always work. Like I just want the least work possible. And that's the thing, because we're living in a different place this year and last year was the first year, I had to figure out where to put all the lights outside because I had a whole thing going on. Yeah. And now it's like a whole new map.
Yeah, we have like one of those like curtain lights. I guess I call it. It's a bush.
Yes. Oh, those are the best.
Put those right on top of the bush, light it up, and then we have the colored ones for the banister going into the house.
And you see how much your bush has grown every year? Yeah. Like, we need another one of these just to extend over the giant bush.
I cut it. I cut that bush.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make sure it's always like, tamed and in its area.
Yeah. Speaking of cutting, you remember us going and getting Christmas trees?
Oh yeah, that was wild.
We've got the
one day we'll do that again.
Biggest Christmas tree I could find, and then got home and it didn't fit in the house.
Cut the bottom off.
Yeah, I didn't have a saw though. Remember, I had to go to Home Depot get a saw, and then saw like 8 inches off the bottom of the tree.
Yeah,
but we made it work.
You didn't have a saw. Yeah, you didn't have a saw. You had to go to Home Depot to get one. I'm like, yep, that shows you how much of an outdoorsy person Jeff is.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's expecting me to handle a saw.
I think I have a really dull saw. At the house my dad gave me a toolbox, this like, craftsman toolbox.
That has a saw included?
It had the saw in there, but it was the rustiest saw you've ever seen. I think I either still have it or I threw it out. Yeah.
That's funny. I have probably a very sharp saw, the same saw. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's hanging in my garage. I never use it except every once in a while. I'm like, I need to cut this tree. You know what? I have a saw.
That's awesome.
Well, okay. I wanted to start today off with a Christmas quiz. And as you might imagine, there are a lot of them over various Christmas topics. So I just tried to find one that wasn't too deep cut, wasn't too into the weeds with the history of Christmas carols, or whatever. And there's so many questions on this that I figure we can pick and choose and see how you do. But I'm going to have to keep score, I suppose, because we're not going to do all of them.
Okay.
All right. So I don't know if we want like Christmassy music in the background or just our normal music, but we'll figure it out.
All right, cool.
Okay. Oh, I forgot to do this. This first question reminded me. Question number 1. What popular Christmas beverage is also called milk punch?
Eggnog?
Yeah. I forgot. We'll just pretend I've got eggnog. Eggnog. Where do you stand on eggnog?
I like it, but it wreaks havoc for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could take it or leave it.
Yeah.
It's like if I go to a Christmas party and there's no eggnog, I'm not looking for it.
What kind of establishment is this? No nog?
But if it is really, really good eggnog, I'll drink it, finish it, and then just smash the cup on and be like, I'll have another. You know?
There was a season or two where it's like the eggnog would come out. And, nowadays it's like Halloween, let's get the eggnog out.
Yeah.
So it's available for a while and I would start making eggnog lattes in the morning.
Does Starbucks have eggnog?
Oh, certainly.
Yeah.
Amidst all their 100 other drinks.
Pumpkin spice crap.
Gingerbread and mocha.
Yes, I said it.
Peppermint mocha. I don't like the pumpkin spice either. So yeah, but that was a dangerous thing. So then I would just kind of wait till the end of the season.
Yeah.
And then just do like a week of eggnog.
How much
lattes.
sugar is
That's
in
the
eggnog,
problem.
dude?
Yeah.
It's a lot.
You try and piece it out. Anyway, you can't think about sugar. It's Christmas time.
Oh, I can think about.
Oh, Josue.
Yeah, right. Gosh.
Okay, listen, Josue, question 2.
Yeah.
Why did the other reindeer not let Rudolph, what did they not let him do because of his shiny red nose?
They don't let him play in any of the reindeer games.
Yeah. And have you seen the original Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer special?
The
claymation?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you imagine reindeer games are?
Sniffing each other's butts.
It's going to be loud. John and Annie reindeer games. Well, as a kid, we always went, like Monopoly. I don't know that anybody has any idea what any of
Reindeer
these...
play Monopoly?
No, but as a kid, those little things
crazy.
You throw in, it's like all these songs that we talked about even last
Yeah.
week. You sing these songs and you don't really think about what they mean.
I think reindeer probably played dodgeball. And they were like, no, we can't let this guy play dodgeball. He's got
a red nose.
Glowing red nose. That was the target.
It was capture the flag. That was a problem in the dark.
Yeah, that's right. Capture the flag. They probably didn't let him play that.
Well, tell me this. Question number 3. So you're 2 for 2. How many ghosts show up in A Christmas Carol?
3.
I'm sorry,
four,
Josue.
four.
Oh, you've already answered. I don't know what our system is, but I'm going to say sorry about that. Yeah, it's 4. Can you name them all?
Past, present, future.
Yes.
And then the 4th one, I don't remember.
Jacob Marley.
Jacob, he's not actually like a timeline ghost, right?
Right. He's just the ghost that originally visits Scrooge.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah.
Marley. Yeah, his dead business partner.
Yeah. Or if you watch the Muppet Christmas Carol, it's 5 because it's Marley and Marley. Remember?
Oh,
the old
gosh, yeah,
Statler
right.
and Waldorf.
Yeah.
Marley and Marley. Ooh, I love that. All right.
Forgot about that one.
Here's a real difficult one. Where was baby Jesus born, Josue?
Bethlehem.
Bethlehem. Okay, we know this. Number 5, the movie Miracle on 34th Street is based on a real-life department store.
Macy's.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
You got it. Okay, you're 4 for 5 or 5 for 6. Where are we? I already lost track.
4 for 4.
5. You're 4 for 5. Okay. What are the 2 most popular? This is going to be tough. Okay, think about this one. What are the 2 most popular names for Santa Claus?
The 2 most popular names?
The 2 most popular names.
St. Nicholas.
Uh-huh.
And, oh my gosh,
Got jolly old St. Nicholas.
Claus?
Sorry, it's Kris Kringle.
Kris Kringle, that's right. Man,
So I'm going to give you a
that was on the tip of my frontal lobe.
0.5 for that one. Tip of my frontal lobe. This one's too easy, so I'm going to skip it. In Home Alone,
Ooh. Yeah.
where are the McAllisters going on vacation when they leave Kevin behind?
Oh, man.
It's tough because you got 2 movies you're thinking of probably, but this is
know.
the original.
Are they going to Hawaii?
I'm sorry, it's not Hawaii. You want a chance at redemption?
Wishful thinking there.
Yeah, the
Well,
second.
they weren't going to New York because that's the second one.
Well, the second one, he gets stuck in New York. They're going to Florida.
Florida.
The first one, if you remember when the family's all milling about trying to figure out where Kevin is, they're stuck trying to watch TV. And the problem is everything's in a different language. You should know this because last week it's where you thought Sicily was.
They were in the south of France?
Yes, they were in France.
Dude, I kept saying, all right, I don't know if we want to talk about this now or when we
Yeah, I don't have
wrap
anything
it
else
up.
to close the loop.
But dude, if you watched our last episode, listen to our last episode, I was talking about the spaghetti that we made.
I can't believe I didn't catch it in real
how
time.
it connects with The Godfather
Mhm.
and how they are from Sicily and spaghetti comes from Sicily,
Yeah.
which is very appropriate, and that it's from the south of Italy, which is actually an island off this coast of Italy, not the south of France. I kept saying the south of France.
Yeah.
That's wild.
We were just both in it.
I
not
know.
really thinking about it.
Crazy. That's like the first thing I looked at. I don't know.
You came
How I-
in so hard with that fact too. You're like, listen, spaghetti, Sicily,
Yeah.
south of France,
Nope.
Italy.
Wrong.
All right, speaking of geography, in which modern day country was St. Nicholas born?
Modern.
Oh, wait,
day-
did I tell you the other name was Kris Kringle? by
Yes,
the
you
way?
did. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Modern day country, Norway.
No, but I'll give you one more guess. It's a delightful country.
Delightful.
Mm-hmm. A little powdered sugar.
Danish?
No, I'm sorry. Turkey.
Turkey. Oh, yes. Turkish delight. Really?
Right. Yeah.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
I was going to make an impression of Santa Claus from Turkey, but I have no idea how to do a Turkish accent.
I would kind of, but no.
Yeah, but let's not do that.
Yeah.
In the classic Christmas movie, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the Grinch was described with 3 words. What are they?
The Grinch was described. Oh my gosh.
3 words describe you. They are as follows.
Grumpy? No.
Dopey and sleepy. It's in the song.
Oh man, I can't think.
Because, you're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. You're the king of sinful sots, whatever. Mm-hmm. But then in the song, there's 3 words, that's something like that describe you. And they are, and they all start with the same letter.
Grouchy? No?
They all start with the letter S.
Oh.
To the listener.
Cynical, silly, and sassy.
Well, cynical starts with a C. But it's
sorry.
Stink, stank, stunk.
Ugh.
You don't remember that?
Stunk. No, I don't.
You're not doing so well here.
I need to watch my Christmas movies again.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Okay, I'm going to give you a couple more here that hopefully will give you some redemption. In the movie It's a Wonderful Life, what happened every time a bell rang?
Oh, dude.
Every time a bell rings.
He comes in and out of hypnosis.
I was really trying to help. You've never heard kids saying like, every time a bell rings. A
fairy dies? I forget. It's been a long time since I've seen that movie.
An angel gets its wings.
Oh, okay. I was saying an angel loses its wings.
That's really, really sad. Okay, here's the easiest one. I was skipping easy ones, but here we go. What words follow Silent Night in
Holy
the song?
Night.
He's got it. He came in hot with that one. Sicily. Let's say 2 more. In Charles Dickens's A Christmas Carol, what was the first name of Scrooge?
Oh, wow. It wasn't Uncle?
No.
Uncle Scrooge?
No. Oh, man. Yeah, I thought you would get that one right off the bat.
I have it, again, in the frontal lobe.
I can hear all the characters saying it.
Oh, my goodness. I know the freaking name.
It's the name of a coffee shop in D.C.
Ebenezer.
You got it!
Ebenezer Scrooge.
All right, I'm just going to tell you that eggnog came from England because I didn't know that, and I'm going to skip this question.
Eggnog came from England.
Okay, here's a good final one. It might be a little challenging, but I think...
How many eggs are in eggnog?
Well, in the word, only 1. That's all I got for eggnog facts. I don't know.
About the recipe.
I don't know.
Is there raw eggs in eggnog? I think originally there was. I'll have to look this up.
I know nothing about eggnog except that I like how it tastes. Also, I will say, before we finish this quiz, buttermilk, there's, like in the movie we're about to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice? Is that why you're saying buttermilk?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if that was intentional. Okay, last question. What did Frosty the Snowman do when a magic hat was placed on his head?
Oh, he came to life.
Yeah, but...
And tormented little kids.
He specifically in the song, if you remember, when the hat was on his head... I can't now. I just messed you up because
he came to life and scratched his head.
No.
I don't know.
I went to sing it and then I went right to Rudolph.
The red nose? No. He put the red nose on Rudolph?
No, I just can't sing the song. I know what happens. Oh, Frosty the Snowman.
Something. Had a button nose and something.
Corncob pipe and a button nose. 2 eyes made out of coal.
2 eyes made out of coal. But I don't remember the hat part. Because I'm trying to remember the movie now.
He led them down down the streets of town to the traffic cop. He only paused a moment. I can't.
To a traffic cop?
Yep.
Whoa.
Traffic stop.
Traffic stop. Okay.
No, maybe it is traffic cop because he heard him holler stop.
I don't know. What is the answer?
He began to dance around.
That's it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he came to life first and then he danced around.
Well, I don't know. According to this quiz, he specifically began to dance around. So
Could you imagine though if you're a kid and you made a snowman and he came to life? You would freak out.
Yeah. Yeah. You would.
I'd be running home and being like, this is worse than Chucky. He's made out of ice.
Well, I'm tabulating here. You got 5.5 right out of 12.
Jeez.
So that's a fail.
I need to brush up on my Christmas facts.
Christmas has been canceled.
Oh, no. I'll save it.
I'll save it. We're going to have to save it in this episode because today we're talking about Bing Crosby's White Christmas.
White Christmas.
I'm really surprised I never saw White Christmas before this year. I always known it was a classic and even knew some of the key songs, like the Sisters song. But it was a lot of fun, but I don't know if it really stands up. If you didn't grow up watching it, I don't know that I want to make it a family tradition.
I should say that if you would like to be the voice of one of our intros, you can email us the reason you want to, watch, listen to, whatever. You could say, hey, you guys should watch White Christmas because boom, and just email that voice memo to ideas@wdyt.show.
Awesome, yes.
Or just email us and say, hey, I want to be an intro, and then we'll just tell you one of the episodes we're recording, and then you can do that.
Yeah.
That's going to be
That'd be awesome.
New for season 2.
Yeah.
Okay, so this movie, White Christmas, you had never seen before.
No, I had not seen this before. Neither had Elizabeth.
Really?
Yeah, none of the kids either.
Oh, this is one that I thought maybe she had seen.
No, she's seen the Wonderful Life. She loves that one.
Yeah. I like that you specified none of your kids had seen it either, as if they were watching Christmas movies from the 1950s without you.
Yeah, right.
Because this was made in 1954.
Jeez. And it takes place in 1944.
Yes. Well, starts there. You're exactly right. And then
how many years?
It's like 10 years later.
Okay.
When we get to kind of the real thing of this movie. So this is a very Christmassy feeling movie.
I don't know.
Well, I just mean when you think of like nostalgia and like the era of classic Christmas, and Bing Crosby, the 50s, that automatically is in like this.
Was this like something you guys watched when you were a kid?
Never.
So is this a first time for you too?
No, I've now seen it a few times.
Okay.
But growing up, we talked about having stuff on VHS with commercials.
Yeah.
The commercial for White Christmas on TV, it was probably literally on the Charlie Brown Christmas special or something, because I know the ending scene where they're wearing the Santa hats and singing I know that scene and him singing the very classic, I'm like that
Which
bit.
He sings at the very beginning.
At the beginning too, yeah. So the end bit was in the promo reel for the movie.
Oh, okay.
And it was always looked incredibly boring to me as a child. See this come on, like, okay, we're not going to watch this in our house and put on something animated or Frosty or whatever. Yeah. So yeah, but I watched it more in adulthood.
How many times?
A handful of times, maybe 5 times. According to my son, like Ephraim was like, "Oh yeah, well I've seen this, a ton of times." I'm like, "What? I thought this was like our 3rd time." He's like, "No, we've watched it way more than that."
Man,
which is possible. It's one of those movies.
Have you ever watched it outside of the Christmas season?
No way.
Like now?
Yeah. What do you mean? It's so cold. Snow.
Snow.
It won't be long before. I can't remember. No, yeah. But when we pulled it up, it's one of those movies with our kids that I feel like when we come back to these older movies, it's like I have to convince them almost. Like, hey guys, it's gonna be a little older, And this one, for some reason,
I had to say the same thing. They were really astonished that it wasn't in black and white.
Yeah, they were really ready for that.
Like, is this gonna be in black and white? I'm like, I don't know. I don't think so.
Christmas is white and gray.
Oh man.
Okay, so how did it take much convincing, or is everybody pretty much on board?
Everyone was on board because we were like, hey, we're watching a Christmas movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And they're like, okay, great. It's an old Christmas movie. All right.
Yeah, no problem.
Is it in black and white?
Nope.
No.
Oh, then all of a sudden now that's a perk.
Yeah,
oh,
exactly.
It's in color.
Yeah. There was a scene where they're watching something on TV that is black and white, because in that time period it would have been black and white.
Right.
Which is funny because they were like, we're watching something in color that they're watching something in black and white.
Yeah.
And it's like this
almost meta kind of thing.
Yeah, weird. Ezra is fascinated by that kind of stuff, by the way. I don't know why.
Just those details, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun.
He always pays attention to that stuff. But
this one didn't take too much convincing in my house, and I thought it would. And we were just like, hey guys, we're watching. What are we watching? Oh, we're watching this. Okay. So maybe it was the Christmas vibe too, because everybody was pretty much on board.
Yeah.
Okay, having never seen this, now if you want to explain to the audience, what's the plot of this movie?
The plot of this movie is two war buddies from World War II. When they go back home, one of them, he's got this this talent. He's an entertainer, singer. He's like, hey, I'm going home and I'm going to be an entertainer. I'm going to travel. This is what I'm going to do. And his buddy is like, yo, that's a great idea. I wrote a song. Check it out. And the guy's like, okay. The whole premise of the movie as to why they got together is because he saved his life.
Yeah.
And he kind of like hangs it over his head and kind of uses him.
Yeah. He barely escaped death because of his friend here that wasn't really his friend, but they were in war together. He saves him from that catastrophic wall falling down.
Yeah, exactly. That he could have gotten away from easily.
And saving him hurts himself. He sustains an arm injury.
Yeah, so he's like, come on, man, I saved your life. Let's do this together. So he's like, I wrote this song. He goes, hey, it's a duet, but I do things on my own. And he's like, we could do this together. Come on.
And we should say,
I saved your life.
The guy that saved the life, his name in the movie is Phil Davis.
Yep.
Who's played by Danny Kaye. And then the main guy, the singer guy you're talking about, who he saves is Bob Wallace. Who is played by our Bing Crosby.
Yeah.
So then they become known as Wallace and Davis.
Yep. And so they're like, fine, I'll take you with me. I feel bad that you saved my life and you hurt your arm. Cool, let's do this. And they become this like duo act.
Yeah, not
singer.
Not on purpose, because at first Wallace is like, I'm a solo act. I don't do this.
Exactly.
But he feels bad that he guilts him into it, and he keeps stringing him along. Like, do this extra thing. Do this other thing. We're going to be producers. And he just keeps going like, oh, and so my arm hurts.
So then they become famous. They become big, touring act.
As a duo.
Act. Eventually, the friend who saved Bing Crosby's character, Wallace.
Phil.
Eventually,
Davis.
Phil is like, hey, I want to get this guy married. I want him to, move on or whatever. I don't know the reason why he wants to like.
Well,
he's the one who brought him. He was the one who like, what do you call it? Weaseled himself into doing this thing. And now he doesn't, he was like, I want some time on my own. You want you to get married and do
That's what Bob Wallace says. He's like, this was your idea for us to be producers. And he's like, well, I didn't know you were going to take it this far and I have no time to myself. And he has that line where he's like, if you get married, you have 9 kids and you just spend 5 minutes a day with each of them. That's, whatever
that's
it is, 45 minutes I'm going to have to myself every day.
Yeah. So he has this little plot to kind of get him to meet somebody. And they meet these two sisters that are basically doing the same thing that they do. They're up and coming. And he's trying to hook Bing Crosby's character up, Wallace, with, what's her name? One of the sisters.
Rosemary Clooney, Betty Haynes.
Betty Haynes, yeah. So he's trying to get that to happen, and the other sister's like, yeah, we should get these two to hook up.
So they're teaming up.
They're teaming up to like, to kind of get them to like fall in love with each other.
That's the main plot.
That's the main plot of the whole thing. And the one brother follows the sisters. He's like, hey, we're gonna just follow them because we want to really make this happen.
Yeah.
And so I guess that's the plot of the movie is trying to get this guy to fall in love. And meanwhile, they run into their old general from the war.
So in following these girls around and him trying to get them set up together, they end up going to Vermont for snow.
Yep, because there's snow in Vermont, and then the ladies have a show up there, and so he's like, well, we're gonna go and follow you because we want my friend Wallace here to fall in love with you. And so in doing so, there is no snow in Vermont.
They're having a heat wave.
They're having a heat wave. And
climate change.
Yeah. And so happens to be the owner of the place that they're staying and doing the show.
Inn or lodge or whatever it is.
Yeah, is their old general.
Their old general, yep.
And because their old general's, kind of hard up on money now because he sunk all his money on this
pension,
lodge.
Everything he put into this.
They're like, we have an idea. We can put on a show and get this place some money. We'll use our own investments, our own money to get this going so that he gets some traffic. And for Christmas, they have this idea to advertise the show and get all the old war buddies who are underneath the general to come support him for Christmas.
Well, because
without him letting
because
them know.
He's really down and out. So they meet this, when they come across this general that they haven't seen in years, they're really surprised to see him. And they love this guy. At the beginning of the movie starts when he's about to hand over the commission of whatever this outfit is to a different general who's terrible, But that's the whole beginning of the movie. So they all sing this song for the general at the beginning of the movie.
We love the general. Yeah, something like that.
Yes. I can't remember now.
Yeah.
So when they see him again, it's this guy that they love, revere, haven't seen him forever. And then they see him running this thing, which is already a big mind bender for them because he was their general.
Yeah.
And now they see, okay, it's not snowing. Nobody's here. Your place you sunk all this money into is going down. And then at some point near the second half of the movie, the general decides, I'm going to get back into the military.
Yeah, that's
He's
right.
just trying to figure out what to do with his life. And then they tell him, like, as if it's a
the
joke.
military's like, yeah.
Play it off, and then he's just really down and out. So Bob Wallace comes up with this idea near the end of the audition that, hey, we're going to get these military guys back together just to support him and show him how much we love him, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So these are the two plots, the basic two plots: the friend setting him up with this girl, and then them supporting the general.
Yep. And then in between all of that
is what drives any story: a solid misunderstanding.
Yep. And, well, what I was going to say was, if you listen to that plot, where in the world was Christmas?
Well, we're dreaming about it, Josue.
Oh, my gosh. It's like Christmas Eve in the beginning of the movie, and it's Christmas Eve at the end of the movie, and nothing to do with Christmas in the middle, man.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a Christmas movie?
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know.
I mean, I think the movie was good.
Uh-huh. Well, what?
I was like, where's Chris? Come on.
You were expecting
this could have been it. This was to me, this was how people say Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
No, come on.
Because it just so happens to be in December.
I will say that what this movie feels like, and I don't know, there's other movies like this at the time, but it felt like a movie put together to showcase Bing Crosby and all these others who have these specific talents, because you get some songs in this that it's like, what is this? Why is this in here?
They're dress rehearsing for the actual show they're going to do on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, but a lot of the songs are not Christmas songs.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. What?
White Christmas may be the only Christmas song in this whole thing.
Did it bother you that they kept repeating the same music?
My kids ask that. Like, why are they singing this Sisters song again? Don't they do anything else?
3 times. They did sing it. The sisters do it twice. The guys do it once, which is hilarious. And they do White Christmas twice.
Yeah.
And no other Christmas song. I was waiting for more Christmas music.
Right. Yeah. And maybe this is why it didn't really end up on our Christmas rotation. I don't know. Like, yeah, my family wasn't into this growing up. But I enjoyed...
Bing Crosby's eyes are super blue in this, by the way.
Yeah, we said that. Do you think they did anything to make them so blue?
Maybe it was the type of film or the way... So I read a little bit about how this was Paramount's first time filming the way they filmed, aspect ratio-wise, and the type of technology.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't Panavision or something like that. It was... I got to look it up again because I don't know if I have that in my notes. I thought I was going to remember it.
But it did. And what this did well is it felt like it was giving you a peek behind the scenes at like Hollywood production in the same way. Honestly, to me, there was a lot of similarities. Have you ever seen Singing in the Rain?
No, but I've done that before.
You've been in it? Oh, you've sung in the rain.
Yeah.
I thought we were digging more into your musical career. Of like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. You told me there was nothing else. I didn't know you were Gene Kelly.
No. I mean, I've gone from like the house to the car while it was raining, and I was probably singing something at one point.
That song, I'm singing in. Okay, I'm here. No, because the way that one is set up, and I would love to rewatch that too, because in my mind it's pretty good. But it's very similar. You have this Hollywood, very produced guy who has all these singing, dancing, acting skills or whatever, and a friend that's a pseudo producer, musician, is the kind of comic relief, whatever, and then you kind of get the behind the scenes of them trying to produce something.
Yeah,
Singing in the Rain is all about them going from like silent film to we're going to start using microphones now.
Oh, so cool.
You'd enjoy it, I think. But this, again, you're getting like the production stuff. We were talking about even Frank Sinatra being, this sort of whatever behind the scenes when we were talking about his album in order that he could produce something that felt so effortless.
Yeah.
And I thought they're trying to portray that in this movie where you see them in the beginning of that montage of them doing all this dancing and acting and little clips. But then when they're at the lodge later on, you see production, but then you see them, let's get to the piano. Hey, was the tempo of this one, let's get into the details of production.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, and so I think that's what this was designed for. But it did give you some weird, like, I don't know, they were going to present this show on Christmas Eve in order to get more people there, but the show had nothing to do with Christmas other than that final scene.
Yeah.
The one scene, and I totally, like, of all the scenes in this, I'm like, I could have lost the bit where he's singing that French song with the beret.
Well, the choreography. Yeah, that was wild.
What are they doing? I don't even know.
They're making fun of like how people don't do art anymore or dance anymore. This is choreography. This is fancier. This is more avant-garde and more avant crap, really.
Yeah, they were poking fun at it.
Yeah.
But it was, it was kind of out of the blue.
It was out of the blue, and it wasn't their style, their characters. You know, you could tell that this is where Hollywood's going, and we don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I guess feels like the undertones here. And at this point, at 54, Bing Crosby had been around for a bit. You know, he's older. And they say, because when he was talking about, I want you to get married and have 9 kids. And I was like, 9 kids? How old is he? Because he's like 50 at the point.
Yeah, he was, movie. I think he was 51 when he filmed this.
Yeah.
And the love interest is 23?
No.
Yeah.
Rosemary Clooney's character?
Yeah.
She was only 23.
That's what they were saying in the movie.
Oh, she had to be.
She was portraying somebody that was 10 years younger. But I think that is a fact, though. I think she is definitely younger.
Oh, yeah. She's significantly younger than him.
She was only 26 years old.
When she filmed this?
Yep.
Wow.
Rosemary Clooney was only 26 years old when this movie was playing. The love interest, and Bing Crosby, who was 51.
Yeah, that's a big difference there.
Yeah. Did you know that she's George Clooney's aunt?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Isn't
I
it?
did not know that.
Every once in a while, and maybe because I knew this, I was projecting it, but I would she would smile or do something, and I'm like, oh, that kind of looks like you could see a family connection there, but you find out like he's adopted, or something. I don't know. Oh,
so back to that, Paramount's first production filmed in their trademark widescreen process, VistaVision, their equivalent of CinemaScope. So this was before letterboxing was common. So I don't know if I ever saw this, but maybe like our parents, we should ask our parents if they ever saw this. But basically, this was when, you still had your cube boxes, right?
Yeah.
And 40% of the original image was being cut off from the left and the right.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. And
I forgot about that.
Yeah. And so what they did, they had this process known as pan and scan. So the original image was being cut off, right? With this, there were moments where like the pan and scan came, where things would just move over.
Yeah.
Where it looks like the image is just
being
being pushed.
So you could see the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Back and forth. So I don't think I ever saw that in real life, but I bet you our parents did. And that's what it was.
I wonder, now I don't even think about that stuff, but that would be really annoying.
Yeah. When they show you at the end, like when they reveal like the behind the Christmas tree and it's snowing in the background.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Yeah.
I bet you when you were watching that, you didn't see anything but the middle.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So the left and the right, all the people on the stage.
Right.
They probably weren't even in the image.
Yeah.
It's wild.
That is. Yeah, you don't really think about that now.
Did you also know that the snow was asbestos?
No. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I know.
That's terrible.
Yeah. This is just wild stuff. One of my favorite, a lot of people's favorite scene is when they're dressed up as the girls because they're trying to distract, the girls.
Sisters.
And then, they're playing. So did you know Bing Crosby's wife had just recently passed away before filming this?
No.
Yeah. So he was not in the mood to do this movie.
Oh, man.
And so all the laughter and the playfulness happening in that song was all improvised.
Really?
Like the actor got him to laugh when he like hit him in the stomach and stuff with it.
Yeah.
With the feather boa.
Oh, that's really kind of sweet and sad.
Yeah. But then he got married to a 23-year-old.
Not Rosemary Clooney.
No.
Yeah.
He got married again but to a 23-year-old after this movie.
I mean, Bing Crosby was hot stuff at the time,
I guess so.
It's funny. You look at somebody like that now, and he looks talented for that era. And he's definitely talented.
Yeah.
But now, I don't know. I feel so far removed that it's like a time capsule. It's hard to imagine, because when I was texting my family about this and thinking about, when they were younger and this stuff was coming out. And of course, my parents were my mom wasn't even barely born yet. My dad was really young. They didn't see this in real time.
My Elizabeth told me that my parents were probably around 5 years old when this came out.
Yeah. So, but you think of them or even their parents too, when this stuff was, I guess, a little bit more normal, and you look at somebody like Bing Crosby, or we talked about Frank Sinatra, who becomes like this monolith of a person. And even like he is in this movie at the beginning, like even in the army, everybody knows who he is.
Yeah.
It just doesn't exist like that anymore.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah.
And so he did everything. He sang, he danced, and he was so I could see like, women lining up to be like, oh, kind of like in the movie, but in real life.
But the age gap though, man, you don't see that nowadays. That's frowned upon nowadays, like pretty hard.
Well, it's like that first girl he tries to set him up with,
Oh my gosh.
He's like, oh, hi, this is whatever. He's like, mutual, I'm sure, And I'm like, how old is she? Looked really young. Yeah. And that...
She's probably a teenager or just barely.
But I think that sort of feeds into his character arc in this movie, where he's very cynical of even relationships in general. Because like he says, everybody's kind of in it with an angle. And that comes up a few times in this movie. Like he gets that people, and he's okay with it. He's like, I get it. I've been in the business for a long time. Everybody's kind of got their angle that they want to do. So it's probably hard for him as an individual to be in a relationship, I would imagine. I mean, I'm not Bing Crosby, but...
I mean, yeah, because you probably, you have to expect that women were probably after his money,
Or notoriety or like career. They want to advance their career.
Did you notice how expensive it was to ride the train?
No.
Because the 2 tickets were like $96 back then.
Well, because they were going from Florida to Vermont.
Yeah, but $96
with the beds. I don't know if the food's included.
I don't know. I wanted to look that up and see what it costs now. If it was $96 then, it's probably like a few $1,000s now.
Yeah. Well, I don't know though, because also, the airline industry is so much more of a thing now that I bet way less people are traveling by train. So it'd be hard to compare.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. But it's a long way to be on the train. And of course, that's why he was so, okay. So his friend in that whole plot of things unraveling gives the girls their cabin or whatever it is in the train. Yep. And then they just jump on. He didn't tell him. And so they get forced to just have to sit up. And you get why he's like, you gave away my nice warm bed, to these girls. He was so mad. And then he ends up slowly over the course of the movie, he and Betty falling in love with each other.
Yeah.
Because they're very similar. Right?
Yeah.
Like she's in this motherly role of her sister. She's got a bit of a producer in her. She's a performer.
Yeah.
And then he too is like very responsible. He's got his kind of career in mind.
Yeah.
He's thinking very practically. And they both say, like when their two friends are trying to set them up, like they're real slow movers,
Yeah.
This isn't going to happen quickly. And you get it kind of slowly happening. What did you think about the plot conflict? Like, when she turns on him, because obviously they have this moment where they kind of fall in love. They're eating the sandwiches at night or whatever is happening. And it's like, it's working.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, boom.
Yeah, I don't know. I was kind of a little bit upset. It was really funny because between me and Eva, I was like, why doesn't she just say what she knows? I mean, he specifically asked, yo, can you just be straight with me?
We talked about this in Mrs. Doubtfire. You feel very passionate about communication.
Yeah. and then I'm just like, women.
Oh, women.
And then Eva's like, men, So I'm like teasing Eva. But it's like, I felt like this, it's such a frustrating thing. I bet this kind of thing happens to people.
Yeah.
But I was kind of frustrated about that. I think, honestly, because I felt like the movie was kind of a little bit of a slow burn in some places.
Yeah.
And there's 2 different plots happening, basically. The love plot, and then there's the general plot. And I think for sure they had to do both at the same time, because if you just focused it on the general, I think you could rewrite this movie and go, we're a couple of guys, we're touring, we're supposed to go to Vermont.
Yep.
And we end up going to this place where, oh my gosh, there's nobody here. What do we do? Oh, we find out that the owner of it is our old general. Let's help him out. And you could do like straight up make this movie an actual Christmas movie and show like the rehearsal of like the Christmas music stuff and do the same elements of it, but geared it more towards Christmas. And then at the end, do the same thing. And now you have like maybe like a 45-minute to an hour movie,
And you think that might improve it?
I think that would improve that version of it. Or you could make a completely different movie.
Yeah.
Follow this same plot, but then may have it take place in like February and just do the love plot and just leave Christmas out of it, and don't have the general plot, in there also. And then you have two separate movies. Mind you, one would be a soap opera and really short, like maybe a 45-minute like mini, like a show, and the other would be an actual movie. I think that would be better. I think I'm going to rewrite this movie and put it on myself.
I'm going to come back at you there, though, and say that I think is what makes this movie more interesting and more compelling. Because while it's not like I'm going to turn it on and be like, I'm watching a Christmas Carol, this is all Christmassy. The fact that you have not only these talented people in the middle, so they started there, and then you have this plot of them, like the romance thing, which makes it kind of a romantic movie to watch, and you get that unfolding. But then you also tie it to the nostalgia of Christmas, which I agree with you, it doesn't necessarily need to happen. This could kind of happen any time of year, except that once you get to the beginning and the end. At the beginning, you have these guys at war, and you get the sentimentality of, we just wish we were home at Christmas. And you have them singing that song, White Christmas, while bombs are going off and the wall is falling down and stuff. And you get that they're pining just to be home.
I think they could have played that up a little more, though.
They could have maybe, but I think there maybe not time. I don't know. But then you get to the very end, and then it all wraps up around not only this sentimental closure you get, and we can talk about more with the general and all that stuff, but the magic of first snow at Christmas time, the Christmas tree. She gives him this gift, which is a little hokey.
What was the gift? Oh, it was a horse.
It was a white knight. He was like, well, you got to be careful with white knights, put them on horses because they're going to fall off. And that was kind of the subplot.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if I like the way that happened, but that whole magical ending of the snow. I mean, you can't get more quote unquote magical than just snow on Christmas tree. We're all happy.
Yeah.
So
I think so. Like, I think if I were to describe this to somebody or tell somebody about this movie, I think if you're going into it with the notion of like, I'm watching a Christmas movie, like take that out of your head a little bit. Like, don't put that expectation so much, because if I say, oh, Elf is a Christmas movie, it's definitely a Christmas movie, right? Elf, undeniable. This one, I can't say it's a Christmas movie. It's a romantic movie, like a romantic comedy, I guess you could say, a little bit, like a dramatic musical that takes place between two different Christmas era times.
Here's what I think would have made it more Christmassy, but I don't think would have worked for the plot. If the songs that they were rehearsing for their show were actually Christmas songs.
Yeah, I think so too. But I think you could have, I get your point. I think you could have saved time if you would have taken out some of the dumb music.
Yeah.
The choreography song, that whole scene, take that out and then add a little more time with the soldiers thinking about the nostalgia of wanting to be home at Christmas.
Yeah.
And you could have played off the fact that now they are at home. And even remember when he says, like, I know it's kind of hell to have to come to leave your family for Christmas and do this. It would have been a bigger thing to be like, we are home, but we're also going to do this for our general in Christmas time. You know what I mean? It would have been a heavier thing.
Maybe.
I think you could have spent more time having these guys be at war, missing Christmas at home a little more, because I totally did not get that.
As a movie, I think so. But because you're building this entire movie around a Bing Crosby and a Rosemary Clooney and these folks, their entire skill set is singing and dancing.
Yeah.
It's not like a World War II epic, or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think there's no battle scenes. Even like we said, even his injury with the wall falling down is it's a stage set.
Ezra was like, is that cardboard?
Yeah, it's like foam. It's asbestos.
It's asbestos. Did you know that Rosemary Clooney also was in one of the hotels in Los Angeles where
Kennedy
got
I
shot?
Read that too.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy? She was there.
But anyway, so as I was like, some of those songs though, maybe this worked out for us that we ended up watching this so early in the season as like a precursor to the Christmas season.
Yeah.
Because some of those I could then really sit and enjoy. Like that sister song was funny, and they did it 3 times. Like they sang it, the guys sang it, and then they did a little bit of it to give you a sense of them rehearsing, right?
Yeah.
But the bit where they're dancing, where really, so his friend Phil Davis, is falling in love with Judy Haynes.
Yeah.
But they never really admit to each other because they're both focused on getting their friends, and sister together.
Yeah.
But when they're just kind of out dancing and they kind of go out dancing in the courtyard and it's all a stage, like painted sets or whatever.
I guess we got carried away. Yeah.
Yeah. I liked that a lot. Like that beat of the movie.
That one, that whole scene where they're dancing, they were really good dancers.
Oh, yeah. They're really good. She particularly, every once in a while in the movie, like when they were doing some of the rehearsal stuff, and she just like pop up on stage and she's like, blah, 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 and I'm like, oh my gosh, you have to stretch before doing that.
Yeah,
like that, she was all over the place.
There's this one scene, I forget what it was. I must have been the choreography one where just the legs just come down and it's just her legs.
I think that was that one, yeah.
And I'm like,
where they're all like staring at her ankles.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm like, I recognize those legs.
The funny thing with that though is so like in the plot, they're in this lodge and then impromptu, they call a whole production team in so they could have a big thing going on at the lodge, to whatever. So they're going to just keep practicing what they would normally practice, which is the reason it's not Christmas music, but they're going to do it there and put on a show, which was unexpected, but they're bringing all their stuff up from New York. Okay. But then they set up and I'm like, where did they find the room in this lodge with a stage that's 50 feet tall? Because she's descending from the roof. Yeah. Some of these sets have these stair pieces that are just...
It's crazy.
You have to just sort of, suspend disbelief.
Yeah. I remember when he asked him, like, how much is this going to cost us? He's like, just wow.
Yeah, wow.
What's wow? Between ouch and what did he say?
Oh, I can't remember, but I know what you mean.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's a good line. Between ouch and... something or other, and he's like, wow.
The one thing when they were talking about how to save the lodge, and he's like, oh, what do you think would be a novelty up here in Vermont? And he says, I don't know, maybe you could dig up a Democrat.
That's right.
I thought that was really funny too.
It's really funny because Vermont now is very Democrat.
Yeah.
So times have changed.
That's true. A couple other quotes that I liked. First of all, his funny friend. I thought Phil was one of my favorite characters in this. Like he really just had these little like one-liners or spots. But when he says, let's face it, Bob, you're a lonely, miserable man, when he's trying to get him like convinced to, get together with somebody. And then Bob too, when they're meeting the sisters and he's like, basically strong-arming him into doing this, because he helped him or whatever. And he says, Ms. Haynes, if you're ever under a falling building and somebody rushes to pick you up, don't think, don't pause, don't hesitate for a moment. Just spit in his eye. Like this man has dragged me on for years.
Why do you say that? Because we're going to Vermont.
Yeah. That was fun. And then Phil, when he was talking about his injury at the end. So at the very end, when Bob does his appeal to, what is it? It's not Ed Sullivan, Ed Harrison's show.
Yeah, they're basically playing it like it's the Ed Sullivan show.
Exactly. And the general wants to watch it, but they have to keep the general from watching TV.
Yeah, because he's going to plead to all the army guys to come support the general. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's only on live once. There's no DVR.
Yeah.
So Phil's out there just faking an injury.
The amount of people were actually watching that.
Oh, so many.
Crazy.
Probably, yeah. And he fake falls down the stairs, right? Yeah. And they go to pick him up, and he's like asking what's wrong with. He's like, "Oh, no, it's nothing. It's just probably a small compound fracture."
All right, well, let's go sit in front of the TV. Nope, I can't.
Or he's like, "Oh, it's just a small internal muscular hemorrhage. It's nothing. Just walk me around for a bit."
Wow.
The woman, so the old woman that works the front desk, Emma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elizabeth recognized her. She's in the '90s Little Women movie or something like that, I think.
Oh, is she?
I think that's what she said.
Let me tell you who she is that I didn't realize. You ever seen Sister Act?
Yes.
Sister Mary Lazarus. I'm going to show you a picture.
Oh my gosh, that's her?
Uh-huh. Because of course she's so much older at that time. Yeah. But she's great in that too. And once I put it together in my head, I was like, oh yeah, she is the same actress.
That's wild.
She was good in this too. She basically, I like running his whole house for him.
Exactly. Yeah, that was really good. And I think the writing, the acting, even though some of it was a little bit slow there's slow parts. They weren't like slow, like, oh my gosh. Like they still kind of held you in a little bit, to get to the next portion of, move the plot forward. But
yeah, even the little bits of like song and dance that they're doing are only little short things. So even though I was like, okay, I don't really like this, it was over quick.
Yeah, for sure. That big first dance number that they did, the big one, right? At the beginning where they are dressed up. I think in Christmas outfits or something.
Which one? The two of them?
Before the choreography one. The first one in the lodge.
Yeah.
That was good.
That was an extended one, yeah.
Oh my gosh. The choreography there is crazy. So,
yeah, they put a lot into that.
Yeah.
That's where I was wondering about the high ceilings.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because you're like, where in the world did this place come from? The barn is that big? I don't know.
I really enjoyed the subplot of the general, and I found it genuinely touching. At the beginning, you like this general from the beginning, who the new general coming in wants to just like, what are they doing? Why are they singing Christmas songs? We're at war. And so he's playing along like, oh, whatever, but he sends them off for like a 2-hour detour so that the men could have their thing.
Yeah.
He's endearing from the start. And then when you meet him at the end and you see how much these guys, who are famous in their own right, love and respect this man, you feel that too. And then you get the element of his granddaughter there at the lodge.
That's right. Yeah.
And it humanizes him very quickly. So I felt like, in some movies where they want you to believe something like that and it feels rushed or you just have to believe that. In this, I really like this guy. And then you get his like trying to get back into the military. You get his feeling of like being distraught, and I'm feeling it. So that way, by the time we get to the end, right?
Yeah.
And they're trying to sneak him downstairs, and he's trying to get dressed, and he has no suit or no tuxedo or whatever, because they put the two that he owns in the cleaner, and so he has to wear his military uniform. And you get the little beat of like, I'm not going to wear this, outside of military duty, which again is like a character thing. And then, so once he finally they convince him because he's obligated to do it. He puts it on and he walks to the top of the stairs and the granddaughter sees him. I was moved. I was like, oh, this is really like touching.
Yeah.
This old guy, it all comes together.
For sure.
And so when they walk in and there's like all these people and he's just feeling it, that really worked for me.
Yeah. No, they did a really good job with that too. And it's funny because you see, so the production value was intentional. Like you'd mentioned it before, like they're showing you like kind of behind the scenes, how production stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And you could see how well they used what they had.
Mm-hmm.
They used it to its maximum capacity.
Yeah.
Even when he does the plea on TV, you can see the cameras like push in on him, like physically push in, because like the technology isn't like today. They use that. You can see them use that in those scenes.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's dang.
Yeah. Peek behind the curtain that felt genuine.
Yeah. And you kind of, it disappears when you're actually a viewer. Yeah,
right.
It's really cool. Yeah. They really did a good job. You can see him. I loved how he was like, you guys look like a bunch of this and that or whatever. And he's like, I love you all.
Yeah. It's the best thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. The most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Yep. Oh my God. Dang.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
The low, rich, soulful vocals of Bing Crosby.
All over this.
Bing Crosby just makes this so like, it takes, and this is why I think they probably orchestrated this entire movie around a man like this and a woman like Rosemary Clooney and these other two. But the two of them, when she has her bit, okay. So there's this subplot of her getting offended because this woman who runs the lodge is eavesdropping on the phone call, which is, her character beat or whatever. And she misunderstands. And they think they're taking advantage of the general and they're going to make him a sob story on TV and then try and make a bunch of money out of it.
Yeah.
And that plot I felt was a little like weak. And of course, because Betty's character just turns immediately on him and is like, you're the worst person ever. And she's so upset.
Without asking any questions.
No. Yeah, we're not going to communicate. And I get it. And this is my suspension of disbelief that she had very slowly, gradually opened herself up and was like, oh, I really, and she kisses him. Yeah. And then all of a sudden realizes, oh, he's a sham.
Yeah.
According to her.
Yeah.
So all that happens, right? And then, they kind of go through whatever. She decides to leave. She leaves the production. Right, yep. She goes back to New York, and then she puts on whatever club she's at and sings a song about how she gave her heart away and was disappointed.
Yeah.
But that song featuring her, you're like, wow, this woman is like so talented just on her own.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like you have, I don't know how many of these even background people have their own thing going on, but I just felt like there was so much talent represented. And then you pull one person out by themselves, and it's not like it's worse. It's like, oh, this is really good just on your own.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's probably why they pulled these people to do this movie.
Totally.
And, back then, I'm not sure how. I mean, I think today it's a lot more competitive to be at that level. There's so much competition.
Yes, and
so I'm wondering how many of these people actually had how much talent there were even in the background.
I think a lot. I think it requires a lot, and it probably requires a lot now. And I don't know if it's the same, because I do feel like there's so much now put on image, where there was then too. I guess it was evolving because TV was just becoming a thing or whatever.
Yeah.
But now it's almost like if you have somebody with an enough amount of talent that you can work with, but also they have a good image, they're a good personality, they look attractive, they can dance, maybe that sort of outweighs the pure vocal skill.
Yeah.
Because there's so much you can do behind the scenes technically now to fix a voice. Maybe that's not 100%.
That's true, yeah.
And I'm not saying that's everybody. Like there's a lot of really talented people out there, but I was overwhelmed by the amount of talent that all came together into this thing. And you're like, wow. I mean, there's no auto-tune on those vocals.
There's no auto-tune. There's no touching something up on post. Like there's no Adobe on this thing. There's no Photoshop. Like that lady's waist was that small.
Dude, she was really skinny.
Yeah. There's no fat on her at all.
Went into that. When he sits down, I didn't pay enough attention to this, and he plays the piano when they're going through parts. Is he playing? Did you see?
Oh gosh.
I didn't know. I'll have to go back and look.
Yeah, I think he was.
I didn't think about that element of it until they were doing that party where they get fake engaged. The other two do. Yeah. And there's that little band playing, and the guy's got that old school electric and then that upright bass. And I rewound it because I'm like, look at the guy on the bass, because he's like just laying his fingers on it. He's not even doing anything. And that was funny to me. But Bing Crosby, I assume because of his, entire career, that he probably could play piano.
That, yeah. Well, yeah, you never know, because I can tell that they had to overdub a lot of it.
Oh, it was all, because you wouldn't have been able to record this on the stage.
Exactly.
So anything being sung, and the minute you would go to a song, it was a recording.
Exactly.
Which is why when they fake the little performance of the sisters, to us, it sounds exactly the same. If you pay attention, you see, because they start the record, right, that the whole band is just sitting there not playing, and that's a joke. But in person, it never would have sounded the same.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but even the acting, though, I think they had to overdub a lot of stuff. Because, I say that because, like, when he was playing the piano, if he really was, they probably had to redo it anyway.
Yeah.
Because how did they mic the piano?
That's true.
So, yeah, he probably did do it in real life then, or he faked it because they were like, hey, don't actually play it because it's going to mess up with the mic we have in the ambient.
Oh, man.
We'll just put it in afterwards.
We've got to watch Singing in the Rain, because that is like one of the primary plot lines of the movie.
Oh, really?
It makes it so kind of fun.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I would say if we want to get to how we think about this.
Yeah.
I mean, the one dislike I had was maybe the way that subplot came together, but it wasn't enough to put me off of it.
Yeah.
Like the fact that she just you're like, okay, but that sort of incredulous feeling that I get when I watch her misunderstanding him so much, it almost adds to the compelling nature of the movie, because you're like engaged. You're like, what? How could you think this of this man who's doing the most, good? He's actually doing really good things.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think that's just how that's how women back in the day used to be.
You're gonna get us canceled. I want to say I admire and respect all women.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that was probably some of, I don't know if it's a tale as old as time of people just going to the most extreme, like assuming something of somebody.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
I don't know. I think they just have to do it that way for the movie, obviously.
And it was, it's an element of its time. It was very centered around a male perspective, I will say.
Yeah,
obviously, because Bing Crosby was the star. So it was designed to make him look amazing. Yeah. I don't know what he was like behind the scenes. Who knows?
Yeah, true.
But this movie really makes him look like a pretty stand-up guy.
Yeah.
And even his friend who's like, manipulating him or whatever. The one little thing that maybe doesn't look as good is when they're running away from the cops to get to Vermont.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, those girls basically are being falsely fined for some damage in a hotel room that they didn't do. Yeah. So the guy gives them their tickets and they sneak him out of the back on a cab to get to the train, and then they put on this fake show so they can get out. But I think that was more just like, this is the industry we work in. This is a misunderstanding. This is something you're going to have to deal with that's going to affect your career that doesn't even actually matter. But it was funny, like, you're kind of committing a crime right now.
Yeah. Yeah, obstruction. What is it? When when you get in the way of the
obstruction of justice.
So yeah, exactly.
You're right. All right, Josue, what do you think of this?
I think I've got mixed feelings about it. You know,
Yeah.
like I already said, you know, I don't know if how much I could say it's a Christmas movie to people, like recommend it as a Christmas movie solely as Christmas.
Sure.
And then, so that's why I say I think this movie I think it's a good movie. I think it holds up on its own as something like a time capsule of, you know, what we would think of as like Hollywood industry.
Yeah.
Right? In that time period.
It feels like it.
And it's a good plot. There's a good romantic, comedic plot to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the very like touching, a very generous human like portion warmth to it.
Yeah.
Right. And then there's like Christmas just bookends it.
Do you think you could watch this in July?
Oh my gosh, I don't know.
That's the thing for me. Like
for me, I don't think I could because it's already been so like it's been suggested to me that it is a Christmas movie. So I wouldn't watch it. I wouldn't want to watch it in July.
Could you watch Die Hard in July?
Yeah, I guess so.
I've actually never seen Die Hard, but just because of how it is like, and I don't think Die Hard is marketed as a Christmas movie. I know everybody on the internet has that argument or whatever.
Yeah.
But what about a movie like The Holiday? Remember that movie with Jude Law?
Oh yeah.
And Cameron Diaz and Jack Black.
I would say I'd watch that during the holidays.
Yeah, but I mean that's like also doesn't exclusively take place.
No.
I mean, you know, it has its elements too that tie it to.
Yeah.
When you think about maybe movies that are more classic Christmas movies, I suppose, you know, you get a more overwhelming portion of them. But I wouldn't want to watch this. You know, after Christmas is over, maybe slightly into January, but then after that, I don't think I want to watch White Christmas.
Yeah, I know. Well, because it's in the title, White Christmas. I think you have to kind of watch this during Christmas time. But I was a little bit let down that there wasn't more like, you know, Christmas elements to it. Because I would have figured, you know, a Christmas movie would take place between, you know, Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but this movie took place between a bunch. How many? 10 years between one Christmas and the next.
Yeah, it was all basic. The bulk of it was leading up to Christmas, but you weren't getting a lot of Christmassy stuff. But that was kind of the point. We're going to Vermont. We want to see snow. There's no snow. And that was disappointing to everybody in the movie.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Snow.
Yeah, I came back and watched this maybe with a pseudo critical eye to go, okay, do I actually like this or is it nostalgia? I didn't watch it growing up. So I went, you know, into parts thinking like, yeah, like that little Frenchman thing or some of the stuff. I was like, okay, I didn't need this, but I still walked away really liking it.
Yeah.
And my family too. In fact, you know, more than I even realized, they were all on board and they all enjoyed it, which,
that's cool.
Yeah, which I wasn't sure.
I think, I mean, I need to ask the kids what they thought and see if it's becomes a tradition in our house or not. I don't know. I don't think it will.
You don't think so? It'd be like Dad, it's Christmas. Can we watch White Christmas?
If the kids ask for it, I'm going to be like, whoa, okay, yeah, let's watch it. But dang, I didn't know you guys liked it that much.
I think it's a good one to kick off the Christmas season. I really liked that. And I don't know that we'll do that every year. But the same way that Santa comes at the end of the Macy's parade, you know?
Yeah.
You go like, oh, we're transitioning to the Christmas season. Here's a good one to kick it off.
I guess, yeah. It made me want to watch Saving Private Ryan.
Oh, that's a whole different angle.
Because of the World War, you know, World War II.
World War II, yeah.
I was like, They did a really good job with the set of the scene, you know, in the beginning of the movie, making it look like they were in Germany with all of, you know, just exploded town, you know. It was crazy.
And the Jeep.
And then that was funny too. He had the Jeep on his
property.
His property.
Yeah. Same one. That's what I thought. I was like, oh, is this the same exact set where they did the beginning of the movie? It probably was.
It probably was. Well, he was all like, you know, I try not to advertise that I was a general or something like that or whatever. He doesn't want to make it, he wants to be discreet about that. But then he drives around in that Jeep.
But he wasn't really driving it, was it? It was Bing Crosby that drove up in the Jeep.
No, it was him.
He drove it in?
Yeah.
I thought he was sitting there out on a bench and Bing Crosby drove up.
Was it Bing Crosby that drove up on the...
I don't remember. I guess we're going to have to watch it again next year and then come back. Close the loop.
So yeah, I think it holds up as a movie on its own. And I think it does hold a place for Christmas nostalgia. But I think if you're coming in dry, you might get disappointed that you didn't see a lot of snow.
Snow.
You got asbestos instead.
Well, I feel that, I guess, yeah. Not as much jingle jangle, but it was, I liked it. I enjoyed watching it. I'm glad I had an excuse to let's do it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. If I don't see it for another, few years, I'll be okay.
One thing I did learn, the best things happen while you're dancing.
Yeah.
That was great.
That was really good.
All right. Well, so when we're coming into the Christmas season now, rather than closing the loop, as this is our penultimate episode for season 1. So next week, we've got kind of a finale season thing going on that we'll talk about in a second.
Yeah.
But instead of closing the loop, I wonder, speaking of Christmas, what are your Christmas essentials? So when you come into the Christmas season, you think, okay, I want to definitely hit. We did this last week with albums a little bit, but is there a certain food besides eggnog that you guys have at your house, or certain activities that you do around Christmas time?
I thought you were going to say, like, what's your essentials to have for Christmas? I was like, being extremely tired.
Yeah, that's exhausting.
Exhausting.
Because every year we'll do like the lights where you can drive through at the park up here.
Oh, yeah,
every year. And it's a short thing, but it makes it feel more festive to me.
Oh, yeah. For us, it's driving around neighborhoods that have like really good Christmas lights up.
Yeah.
That's really always really cool. Especially the houses that have like that tune into the radio station, their lights dance around too.
Oh, yeah. Those are super cool. Do you guys have some of those around you, or do you have to go looking?
Near us, you're going down towards Vivian and Mary's house.
Yeah.
They have a house in their neighborhood that does that. It's really great. So that's like a definitely a Christmas thing for us that we always do.
Totally.
And we'll kind of look up too. Like there's like Facebook, community chats where like houses are doing that. We'll drive there, if it's within reason. But yeah, foods, as far as foods, man, like I think since from Thanksgiving until Christmas, just having that turkey, mashed potatoes and gravy and stuffing, man, I love this season because I love those foods.
Yeah.
It's just such a comfort, warming food. I really, really, really love Thanksgiving.
One thing that has become a staple in our house that just happens now every year because my son, youngest, is such a sweetheart, is he found out that I like peppermint bark and some year made it for a class activity or something. And then I don't eat, I'm trying to avoid a lot of sweets, but I will more likely eat that.
Yeah.
So he'll be like, oh, Mom, can we make some peppermint bark for Dad? And of course, they'll eat it
That's
too.
Awesome. Yeah.
So we'll do that. I can get into peppermint bark.
Fudge.
Do you guys make fudge?
No, we'll get fudge from different people. That's pretty cool.
Wassail.
Wassail? What's wassail?
Here we come, a wassailing. No?
Nope. I don't know if it's just specifically Christmas time or whatever, but like Coke, hot cocoa.
Yeah.
With rum.
Mulled apple cider.
Yep. Oof. Yeah.
Yeah, my kids like to use, because Starbucks every year will do those cup giveaways around Christmas time once they hit the Christmas season. And so we have so many of those cups, and they love to fill them with hot chocolate and then just like a handful of marshmallows.
Yeah. Candy canes.
Do you like candy canes?
We'll put a lot of candy canes on the Christmas tree as ornaments too.
Eat them?
Yes, but we have a certain amount of candy canes that we don't because they've been around since me and Elizabeth.
You bring out the same ones every year?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a box. I'm correct. I might have to like close the loop on this, but correct me if I'm wrong, Elizabeth. But we have candy canes that are just really old.
Yeah, they're just hardier, those old candy canes than they are now. They make them so cheap.
Yeah.
I don't know. As a kid, I always remember candy canes breaking.
They do. They do break a lot.
If they're the same candy canes, I'm pretty amazed that they've lasted.
I think we do have a bunch of candy canes that are just like the same candy canes that we just leave up. Like they're like white and green. I don't know if I've never personally bought white and green candy canes, but we have.
I will say, I will go on record that I have never heard of anybody reusing real candy canes. So I'm really curious if this is a fact, because that's fascinating to me.
I'm curious too, whether I'm completely wrong or not.
Everybody has their own stuff that's normal. I didn't find out until I was married that it wasn't normal every year putting the Christmas lights away to put them back in the little plastic thing. You know how when you unpack them, each light is pushed into like a piece of plastic and you get it all in the box like that?
Nope.
Come on. When you buy...
Most of our lights have come in like just wound up in a box and you just take it out, you undo the
sure, but
the
when they're brand new.
No.
Yeah, when they're brand new, you get there's like a plastic thing.
I know what you're talking about, but I don't think I've seen that in any of our new packages that we bought.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe because people just don't use them, and LED lights are a little bit more hardy.
Okay.
But I remember, especially as a kid, and this I think was from my dad's just personality, putting every single one of those lights, winding them back, and it taking so long, and then getting married, and Amanda going like, why are you putting it back in that? And I'm like, that's just what you do. She's like, no, it's not. I'm like, what do you want me to do?
2 hours to put this all back the right way.
The exact kind of Jeff activity that.
Well, I can understand. I can understand why your dad would do that. I think my dad would have done something like that too, because it also it protects it.
Exactly.
It.
Yeah. Exactly.
We don't have the money to just buy new ones next year if they break.
Yeah.
You got to take care of it.
Replace.
Or it makes it easier to find which one is out, so you can just replace it.
Yeah.
With one that works, so that you don't lose a whole strand.
Yep.
I can see why. Yeah, I can see why you were talking.
It's very practical, but it takes a lot of time.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth it to save those like $10.
Lights have become way more disposable now, where I feel like our Christmas lights, you're keeping a strand, you're replacing bulbs, but you're keeping the basic whatever.
Yeah.
Where now, like you said, those Bush ones, and my main problem is like, I want to get a couple extra, but this year they're selling a different type, and now I have to get, and now they don't match.
They don't match, yeah. Oh, gosh.
They got to do it on purpose.
I think we have to, I don't know if it was this year, we talked about this last year, but I think we have to buy a new Christmas tree.
Oh, yeah?
Because, we have that pre-lit Christmas tree that we've had forever.
Yeah.
I think last year was the year we said, this is it.
This is it. This tree is done.
Yeah.
Well, Black Friday.
Because we had to put our own lights on it. The pre-lit lights didn't work anymore.
That's really a defeated day. Yeah, we've done that too. We're like, oh, okay, I just string some lights on the pre-lit tree.
And there's like all these lights on it that are not on.
Yeah.
It's wild.
We have and that changes year to year, because we, for most years, did an actual real tree. And then at some point, with kids and stuff, it was just easier in our rhythm to have a pre-lit tree. Yeah. It was like, oh, this is way better. But yeah, there was one tree that we got that was a hand-me-down, and then I was sticking lights in there. But I had so many extras because of the ones like I got for outside or didn't use anymore or whatever. I'm like, oh, just stick these in there this year. But at this point, we have so many lights, so many ornaments, but they're all just a hodgepodge of everything.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how those people will have like themed houses and their tree and everything will match. And I'm like, we're just like, throw it all on there.
Yeah, every year something new comes along. Like I have a Batman ornament that is specifically my ornament. And even the kids will come and be like, Dad, here's your Batman to hang up. I'm like, yep.
I have a Superman. He hangs under the tree.
Yeah. So like, we don't have a theme. It's just, what's our theme? Home. Esco home.
Well, I also like the character of having all the kids handmade. Like, I made this in this grade or that grade, or here's a picture of them, and it makes it more Christmassy for me.
Yeah. I will say I'm looking more forward to Christmas this year than the previous Christmases.
Oh, yeah? Why is that? Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I think my Grinch heart is turning, I think.
It's growing.
It's growing.
Yeah, no more stink, stank, stunk.
Well, the thing is, the past 2 Christmas seasons, I had gotten sick.
Oh, that's right.
They were terrible. The second one, or the first one was the worst because of the gallbladder stuff. The second one was I got food poisoning. That was the entire family, other than Elizabeth, food poisoned by, chocolate milk with a raw egg in it.
Whose idea was that?
That was Elizabeth's idea.
Why a raw egg? What are you talking about?
Raw egg for protein? I don't know. She'd done this in the past.
That's a thing?
Multiple times, yeah.
Oh, I thought you were joking.
Chocolate milk, blended chocolate milk with banana, whatever.
Uh-huh.
And a raw egg blended into it. And she served it to every single one of us except for her. And the next day,
she wanted you all contract E. coli.
I think we did. Because, man, the stories I could tell you about us, all of us going to the bathroom.
Yeah, get out of there.
Oh, my gosh. We didn't invite anybody over to the house. Don't come to the house. Because I'm sure it's all smelled like puke and
stop. Ugh.
Diarrhea. It was really bad. Really. And it was over my birthday. And it was funny. I love you, sweetheart. But I kept telling the kids, like, I can't believe mommy poisoned us. like she did it on purpose or something.
She's just like, if I could just get 45 minutes.
Oh my gosh, it was so bad. And then like, it was, I want to say it was Christmas break. It happened after Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Right. I think, or was it before? I'm trying to remember. I know it was before Christmas Eve because it was my birthday. So it happened. I had to take some time off work.
Yeah.
And then when I finally felt I was well enough to come back, was Christmas Eve. I had to be back.
Right.
It was Christmas Eve, and I was still like puking.
Oh no.
I remember Christmas Eve that morning at church, just like stopping, going to the bathroom, puking, and we're like, all right, cool. I can do the next 4 hours, and then I'm gonna go back to the bathroom again. And like in between services, like sitting down, going, man, like cold sweat. Like, am I gonna make it?
Oh no.
And that was my last. So this year, hopefully, no sickness, more merry and jolly.
You need to redeem that.
And less exhaustion is what I'm hoping for this year.
Yeah, because we were talking about that in our house, and I won't get into the details, but like when you get sick over like a specific kind of food or something, that can ruin it for you forever. So to be sick and it be like, here's Christmas time. Oh, remember how I was so sick? Yeah, you need to redeem that memory with something.
Yeah, for sure.
A little bit happier. Well, I am curious too, what movies people like to watch around Christmas time. Is it Elf? Is it Home Alone? Is it, what is it? For us, like one of my Christmas essentials is Disney's Christmas Carol. I think we talked about the Ebenezer Scrooge one.
Yeah.
But the actual Mickey Mouse Christmas Carol, I will watch every year.
Yeah.
It's like a 30-minute one. So I want to know what people's ideas are. They can email those to sisters@wdyt.
You gotta spell it. You gotta
sing-songy.
Sisters.
Just sing it while you type it. Yeah. There were never such devoted sisters.
Oh my gosh.
You should know the words. You saw it 3 times.
Wow, that's right. I must have blocked it out.
I'm gonna keep my eye on her. Sharing. We could do the. Come on.
Is caring. Wow. So, all right, everybody.
Yeah. We should.
We're here all night.
We'll be singing this song. I will say, so next week is going to be our last episode of season 1.
Yeah.
And we're going to do something that we've been planning for a few weeks now. Rather than doing something holiday related, it's going to be our final wrap-up episode of the season. So I thought the best way to do this, especially for people, maybe they've jumped into this podcast partway through and they haven't had a chance to go all the way back to Jurassic Park and Superman and all that stuff yet. We are going to rank our favorites to least favorite. And it'll give people a chance to go, oh, maybe I want to go back to that episode.
Movie or podcast?
Oh, the actual item.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just going to be an hour and a half of self-critique.
That third podcast, man, that was...
What was I thinking? Yeah.
South of France.
That's number 20. Yeah, so we'll come up with a kind of a fun ranking system, and maybe we'll include some of your stuff as well. So
maybe like a bracket, almost like a homage to like the World Cup bracket or something like that.
Something like that. But we're definitely going to need a spot where we can include the worst. Because I have a couple on there that I want to really make sure we acknowledge.
The worst. Hey, Newsies better not be on that worst list.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. It could be controversial. So until then, if you want to vote, some of those polls are still open. I leave them open for a month. So if you want to go back to some of the previous Spotify ones and tell us your opinion on a poll, or leave a comment, you can always do that on Spotify, on Apple. You can do it on YouTube. It's all at wdyt.show. Yeah, and you can find that stuff. And while you're there, give us a thumbs up or 5 stars.
Yes, please. And share to your friends.
Sharing, caring. Yeah, share this. And, we have some special plans for the season while we'll be taking off over Christmas. We're still going to be putting out episodes, but then we're going to be coming back with something special too in the new year, which I'm pumped for.
That's awesome.
So in
Get
the
ready,
meantime,
folks.
in the meantime, everybody get your eggnog, your hot cocoa, your Christmas movies, your Santa Clauses.
Be merry, jolly, and above all, just be grateful.
May all your Christmases be white.
Be white.
White. Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy New Year, and
Merry Christmas.
I say that like we're not going to talk to him until 2025. We have an episode next week.
That's true. But yeah, no, enjoy Christmas, everybody.
Yeah. See you next time. Thanks, Josue.
Peace out, everyone.